Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow, take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Welcome to Sunday night. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day for all you mothers out there, or you motherly types. Hope you guys had a good day. Hope you guys called your mothers if they're still with you and wished them happy Mother's Day. And pretty mellow day today. I did not get the chance to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so which means streaming it is. I just don't have the time these days to do like I do unless it's going to an advanced screening. And even then, some of those I can't go to. So tonight is pretty much open topic. I don't know how long the show is going to last because I do have some allergy shit going on. But hey, let's go ahead and say, if you'd like to support the channel, there you go. Streamlabs.com/cybercenters/tip. That's the Public Safety Caffeine Fund. Keep me caffeinated and the public safe. Also goes into equipment and things like that. Monthly subscriptions to StreamYard. Every little bit helps. So, hello, Bell. How you doing? Clinton and his duck. I don't know what's going on with Clinton. Why he had cheese. Hello, Ozzy. How you doing? Vince, what's going on? I'm skipping you, Bane. Let's see. Hector Jason. How you doing, Hector? It's Aaron kicking everybody in the balls. Don't really have a topic. A lot of times on this Sunday live stream, it's just pretty much a wrap up because it comes 24 hours after we've done our main anchor show, which is the Saturday overnight, which is topic laden. So, unless something like comes up, unless something was like, breaking news or something, or some important casting news, but otherwise it's just me and usually Brad. He'll probably be along later, just answering basic questions. And if anything comes up, a lot of that will lead to its own topics. Let's see. Yeah, you have to go up to a flight of stairs. That's an elevator, though. Sometimes it works. Oh, yeah. Happy Mother's Day, Belle. She's the mom. No, that's a different mother. It's attached to another word, an activity. Yeah, I heard about that where they accused the guy of cheating and he wasn't cheating. He had just done the math and figured out the patterns, and that wasn't illegal, but they ended up having to give him the money. I don't think Brad's getting kicked in the head at 10:46 at night, but hey. Yeah, Sam Rubin. I was a couple of years away from leaving out California when he showed up on KTLA. But yeah, 64 years old, man. you don't realize how much of influence he had until you realize that he was an entertainment guy and the entertainment capital of the world and second largest market in the world. So a lot of people across knew who he was. Okay. Let's see. All right. So pretty much a mellow night. Like I said, I like to keep our streams scheduled, even if I don't have a topic. There's a lot of bullshit going on our community and Twitter and stuff like that I don't get involved in. So there are some people that, like I said, I just kind of avoiding lately. I think we covered everything last night that was pertinent. Don't much have, like I said, this is your guys' time. No, I was gonna go see it tonight. I just didn't have the time and or energy, so it's gonna be a streaming movie for me. So I'll see it in about 3 weeks. What other watch along should we do to push the sci-fi agenda? No more joke movies until we finish. After we finish one, like I said, I know the Blade Runner Final Cut has been bought up. I mean, there's a lot of science fiction ones we can watch, a lot of horror ones we can watch. That one that's going to be on Shudder that Ruth had to show the trailer again for last night. That's probably one I would like to watch with the crowd. Monkey Man is coming up. That'll be a Patreon one. That'll probably be this coming Friday. We'll use this Saturday to get caught up on all the joke movies, but Monkey Man is one I do want to see. Once again, another movie I sent a bunch of people to and gave away a bunch of T-shirts to, but just did not have the time in my schedule to go see myself. Vince, you got a birthday coming up? Hello, Ruth. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Like I said, I generally like to see these movies on my own and develop my own opinion on them. But like I said, I just have not had the time. I was gonna run some primetime watch parties for stuff you're not interested in, but few of us might be good burger time movies. Ooh. Oh, hey, it's YouTube letting me know I'm on the air. We've only been on the air for 10 minutes. That's nice. And Brad will be here in a second. Ooh, I haven't seen RoboCop in like 20 years. It's a big 4-0. There you go. Yeah, a lot of made babies. What's going on here? Okay, I'm just reading an email. Oh, happy birthday! I mean, have you seen it, Forth? I can't tell you. I haven't seen it yet. A Scottish birthday pineapple. Oh, Droga. May 15th is also Rod Smith, Emmett Smith, and Ray Lewis's birthday. Good company. Two of those are Hall of Famers. I don't know if Rod Smith is. Did you ask me a question, Ruth? Where is it? There you go. Good morning. I have a question for you. Oof. Shit, that's a tough one. What is my favorite? That's a tough one. What is my favorite thing to ever happen at the Sci-Fi Center? I would say our when before digital and streaming was really 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 super huge. Um, our our weekly movie weeks. We have a built-in screening room at that time in the 2010 to 2013 era. It was much larger, and like I said, you didn't have the availability as you do now for some of the movies that we were showing and the kind of crowds that we were getting through it during that 3 year period where we've never been able to reach. I mean, we reach it for like Game of Thrones and certain things, but for the most part, with laziness, we don't really need to leave the house to go see these movies. And that was a time period to where and also during that same time period, we were doing our weekly Doctor Who. Every Friday was Doctor Who night. Because once again, it just you had the new stuff that was happening on Sci-Fi Channel or BBC, but you didn't have any of the older stuff, and we would show that. So that 2010 to 2013 period, I think, when our screening room is at its zenith, I think that would probably be my favorite things to happen. Not any one particular one, but in general. But if I had to nail it down, though, to one thing, I brought this up before. It's our 24-hour 50th anniversary Doctor Who marathon that we did about 11 years ago. November 22nd, 2013. We did basically an all 24-hour marathon. We played Doctor Who from 8 p.m. The Friday night until 8 p.m. the Saturday night. And we actually had a lot of people show up for it. A lot of people stayed for it. So I would have to say that. Let's see. What's going on?
I was a little bit late getting on tonight.
I'm just going through chat.
Yep.
William, can you explain the significance of Franklin Richards in Fantastic Four and his connection with Galactus? I have a feeling we'll be seeing the kid. Franklin Richards is a mutant who's a Omega level mutant who pretty much has godlike powers. His connection to Galactus is he potentially has that level of power. He interacts with Celestials. He can create his own. He created his own universe, that Heroes Are Born universe. When they finally got that done, it was a universe that he had imagined. So he has amazing potential cosmic power. If he's in the movie, he's one of those entities that could explain the consolidation of the multiverse and the universes. Galactus can also play a part in that. The Celestials can definitely play a part of that. Doctor Strange, Wanda Maximoff can, and Franklin Richards. That's if he's even in the movie. You could have a situation where he's not in the movie, because not every adventure would include him. And there was a decades long period before they even had a child. I think. I mean, I don't think Franklin Richards even appears in the comic till later on, because they also have a daughter too.
So are you saying that he's a Class 5?
What do you mean?
That's an excellent Last Stand joke.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed the joke.
Yeah. Well, no, because that's how they classify mutants in X-Men: The Last Stand. They say everyone, according to powers, like Class 1 through 5.
Yeah, that's actually bullshit. They really had a term. But they had a term to use. You have Omega.
Yeah, I know Omega level and all that, but they kind of make up a new one in Last Stand, like Class 1 or through Class 5.
He actually appears in Fantastic Four Annual Number 6, so back in the 60s. But for those, if you ever collected Power Pack, he was one of them. But he was he's got significant powers. Like I said, he's gathered the interest of the Celestials too. So there's another connection too, because they see him as the ultimate, or mutants like him as the ultimate evolution of what for them is a dead end species in Homo sapien. They consider Homo sapiens dead end, but mutant kind, and that's why I think the Celestials should have a big part in the coming of mutant kind, and they should start there. I was on the stream somebody else where everybody was thinking, oh, they're not gonna show you Apocalypse yet and all that. And I'm like, I think they would show you Apocalypse outright because Apocalypse would be the first mutant. Also, you already have the Celestials there. You're going to have the Fantastic Four there, and if somebody made a mention that it might be too, a deep cut, but listen, there's no such thing as a deep cut when it comes to comic book storylines. You either are capable of telling a story or you're not. I hate that. I hate when somebody says, well, if they don't read the comics, that's going to be a deep cut from. Yeah, and I want, once again, if your storyteller is an absolute fucking failure, sure. But that's literally their job, is to make that all reasonable for you. There's no story that you should be able to tell comic book wise that you can't translate over into any medium you want to, as long as you have the right storyteller. It's not the medium or the cut that's the problem. It's the storyteller. And I trust Kevin Feige to line up the proper storytellers to tell me anything I need to. The people say that that's a deep cut, but then I look at the other stuff that they present and that they understand just fine, and I'm like, well, shit, that's not just that. I mean, come on, you got that, but you're worried about this. So no, I actually think that they are going to. I think somehow Apocalypse will be seen, and then you will bring about. I mean, between Wanda, possibly Franklin Richards if he's there, but a lot of those cosmic entities. But remember, because once the sacred timeline comes together and all the other ones, or many of the other ones, are consolidated, then you're going to have people that have always been in existence that weren't necessarily, because they've now been lined up. So I don't even know if Franklin Richards is going to be in the movie. I haven't heard anything about that. I guess, I mean, it would be too soon to cast him, because by the time we get finished, he ain't going to be a kid anymore. So
well,
I don't know.
We didn't even know the Galactus, was gonna. We didn't have any indication Galactus is going to be in there until about like 3 days ago. So
I would have bet everything I own that Galactus is going to be in there. To me, it would have made no sense for him not to be in there. There's another thing that people say, well, that's too soon. Listen, you guys got to get this, not you guys, but in general, you're not telling the story. You're consuming the story. You only know when it's time because it's been presented to you in that order. Otherwise, not everything is too soon. Every comic book story is too soon. So you have to let the storyteller lay it out. And if he gives you, like I said, there's no way I can't see doing Fantastic Four without it leading up to Galactus. But Franklin Richards is not an integral part of their story all the time. He's in the universe, but it's the Fantastic Four. It's not the Fantastic Four, and because like I said, they have another kid in there. It's like he's a supporting character, but I don't know if he's going to be in the movie or not. But Galactus, there's a bigger case for Galactus to be in Fantastic Four than there ever is Franklin Richards.
Do we have any? I'm sorry, I was just about to ask. Do we have any? And there's just rumor, speculation on a lot of things right now. Is it confirmed if Dr. Doom is going to be in the MCU Fantastic Four?
No.
Okay.
The only thing that, and I hope he's not, but I know he will be. I know he needs to be like a Lex Luthor situation, in my opinion, to where he's there, but he's not the main villain yet. And I'm kind of tired of Dr. Doom anyway. But no, there's no guarantee that he's going to be in there. Like I said, the only ones we know about are the actual cast themselves, John Malkovich and the guy who's playing Galactus. That's everything else is still being put together and assembled. So, but like I said, 50-50 on your question, RJ. I don't know if he's in there. Then he's gonna his potential. They'll know Galactus in an instant. Will know his potential. He will be able to look at him, and just like the Celestials will know his potential. So that could be a unifying moment right now. But once again, I don't know who he's going to be in the movie yet. So.
Yeah, but that's a question that's been on my mind, because obviously, there's all kinds of rumors and rumor and chatter swirling around this. And of course, Doctor Doom has been in every Fantastic Four movie up to this point. So, and he's of course thought of as the Fantastic Four's arch villain. So, if they are first of all, if they have Galactus, that obviously implies Silver Surfer, if not in a supporting role, at least in some kind of cameo or establishing presence.
No, if they do Galactus, you'll see Silver Surfer first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll see Silver
but
Surfer
but
first.
yeah,
And
but
then,
that has will be wondering. Okay, like where, if anywhere, is Doctor Doom coming up, and if so, like where are they going to establish him in this? Or are they going to save him for later? What kind of thing? And in fact, actually, I think RJ had a one right here about that. Let me go and pull this up. Would Doctor Doom come from the MCU? Would he come from the multiverse world of Fantastic Four and escape and come to the MCU? How will they do it? That'll be interesting. Yes, yeah, I agree. And
that's a good possibility because I do think they will have existed already in their own universe with no one else but the people that are supporting. So yeah, Victor Von Doom could clearly be in the universe that they come from. I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
I have no inside knowledge, but that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So and when is this actually supposed to start? When they're supposed to start get rolling on Fantastic Four? They have like a start date they've announced, or are they still just kind of in the casting phase?
I have not heard one.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that there's not one out there. I just haven't heard it.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, if Doctor Doom is going to be in it, then of course, and they're planning on starting within the next 6 to 8 months or so, then yeah, we would probably hear that news within, I would guess, before the summer's out. But yeah, that thought's been on my mind. It's like Doctor Doom. Are we going to see him in this one? Are they going to kind of let him sit back for a little bit since we've seen so much of him, and maybe kind of like Galactus sort of takes center stage as the as the new like really like big cosmic force that not because I mean Galactus, I mean yeah, he's so associated with the Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, but he's he's a threat to the entire Marvel universe. So that kind of implies, even with Kang coming up, that that they're going to be establishing connective tissue with Galactus to their entire hero roster right now.
All right, so Fantastic Four is scheduled to be released in July 2025. As part
They
of
better get started soon. In fact, that's probably going to move. I bet that's going to move.
I don't think it's going to.
You don't think so?
No. There's a lot of it is going to be work that can take place elsewhere and without many of the principles. That's going to be like almost completely fucking CGI. I mean, Galactus himself. I mean, everything. I mean, Human Torch. I mean, all of that stuff. I don't think it's gonna take that long to put it together. I mean, the fact that they've got the cast. Well, most of the cast, they've already got the cast together. We're just getting.
They've got the team. They've got Galactus. They've got the principals announced in the end. Again, the only big one remaining is Doctor Doom. Assuming Doctor Doom is in the movie, and if he's not, then then he's not. Then we won't be hearing about that. But if he is, then
I would be
next month.
Yeah, I would be just fine without seeing Doctor Doom as their villain. I don't think Doctor Doom's a critical villain at any point in their stage that you could not, because they're the unifying. What makes the Fantastic Four so cool is that it doesn't all have to be about their arch villains and stuff like that, because of the fact that they are basically, like I said, they've always been a unifying force. That's who you go to when shit's really hitting a fan. Galactus is a cosmic universal threat that basically would threaten pretty much every tier. But I think that I think all this is going to come together to where you're gonna reach that level where the Celestials are involved, all those guys are involved. But it just I don't know enough yet about what they're doing. I know they're gonna basically consolidate the universes down. They're gonna basically pare their multiverse down to where they have one prime or one, possibly three. Because even after Secret Wars, you didn't just have one; you still had other ones in. But I think they're going to use this to retcon and reposition where they want their story to go. My only thing, like I said last night, is I just hope they don't keep leftovers from eras that have already been exhausted. I don't want to see personally. I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I saw him as Wolverine. I enjoyed him as Wolverine, but I want a new Wolverine.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way where it's like it's with Deadpool and Wolverine, it's like I'm excited to see him very, very excited to see him as Wolverine one more time. But if this weren't coming up, I would if Logan was the last time, I would have felt like I got that he had like a very fulfilling run as a character, and I think most people would. So it's it's kind of his return is it's not a necessity as far as like putting a bow on his tenure in Wolverine, but it is a nice kind of cherry on top where it's like we did get a very fulfilling run, but we're going to get a little bit extra now.
Yeah, and I'm also worried about, like I said, nostalgia is a dangerous thing. When you're looking back behind you, you're not looking at what's ahead of you, and you're going to run into something. So you got to be careful with that, and I hope that they handle it well. Like I said, I don't want anything from prior to the point of consolidation coming forward into the MCU. It's the MCU for a reason. If I want to see that stuff, I have Disney Plus. I can watch the hell out of that stuff. I want to see the MCU versions fresh from their version, and I've been waiting. Like I said, we've been dealing with Marvel Cinematic Universe since 2008, and we haven't had versions of these characters yet from their universe. And we've built this universe around things that they had to build it around because they had nothing else. They had no choice. The Avengers was the only IP in the 90s, a major IP that wasn't sold off, because at the time nobody wanted the Avengers. It wasn't a top-selling book. It was a book you kept around because it had been around forever, and you would Marvel without the Avengers, the Mighty Avengers. But that book was on hard times, so it wasn't like but the X-Men wasn't. But I'm okay with never seeing any of these characters again, and that's not a knock on them. I enjoyed them when they were there. So let's get to.
So and I agree. I think Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be the goodbye to the Fox X-Men roster. I do expect we're going to see. I mean, like Famke Janssen was recently asked, "Are you in it?" And she kind of gave the it's like, not that I'm aware of, but it'd be cool to return kind of answer. And I mean, again, I would expect the bulk of them to be in it. I mean, the only ones I think maybe a little bit it's a little bit dicey is Xavier and a Magneto, because then it's like, are you going to have Stewart and McKellen, or are you going to have McAvoy and Fassbender? You're going to have all of them. So that's a little bit like maybe have.
Well, you could probably have them all in this particular storyline, and I'm okay with that, as long as once we end this, that's it. I don't want to see those characters going forward. I don't want to see those interpretations of those characters going forward. To me, that would be an absolute waste. That's not what I've been waiting for. I mean, while I was waiting for these versions of these characters, I was watching that old stuff. I enjoyed that old stuff, but there's a time and a place for everything. And I think fandoms sometimes just try to think that because something worked here, let's just smear it all over here. That's not the case. Everything has its time and its place, and those versions of those characters had their time, had their place. Now with Deadpool, you get to say, you get a bow on top of them, but from that, tie that knot. I don't want to see these characters going forward.
RJ has a little bit of a different perspective. I don't think the goodbye to Fox X-Men is happening until Secret Wars. Secret Wars is going to see everyone come back for one last showstopping crossover. Then we say
that's what this is. Oh, make no mistake. I hope you guys don't understand that Deadpool, although they haven't announced it, that's the beginning of Secret Wars.
Is a component. It's the opening act of Secret Wars. Yeah.
So only reason why I'm going to see it, because if it was just Deadpool, I may not see that for free. No, when you see Deadpool, that is literally you're stepping into Secret Wars. Secret Wars is a culmination of all these things that have been happening. That with Loki, God Loki, and all that. The Secret Wars is a culmination of a storyline that really is starting in Loki. And it's what I've been waiting for. So yeah, Secret Wars. When you say Secret Wars, and when I say The Last Goodbye, this is all that. This is all that. I think yes, you will see all these characters during the Secret Wars storyline. But at that point, after that's over with, and we start with a new sacred timeline, which is what the Secret Wars will end up with, I don't want to see these characters anymore. It's like, you know what? It's a family reunion or a class reunion. I enjoyed you guys when I had to be near you or when I was near you, and now I'm ready for new people. So yeah. But yeah, I agree. Right. I think we're different on the timeline. I really think that once Deadpool begins that consolidation process. Rhea's got I'm sorry, go ahead.
We'll go ahead and read your question. I'll ask mine.
Question for y'all: Maxine and Terrifier are going to be like I can't stand reading y'all. Are going to stream in 2 weeks after the agent is going to determine if you see them or not. I don't have any plans on seeing Terrifier or Maxine at all. because I didn't like Terrifier. It's just not my kind of horror movie. Sorry, this is not my taste. I thought Pearl and X were garbage. That's just my opinion. I know you guys are out there fighting for them. I watched them. They bored me to death. Their resolutions were dumb. I just didn't like all those movies, so I will not be seeing Maxine.
No,
Brad?
listen, dude. No, we got to do. We finally got the Raid 2. Yay! Did my watch party with that this weekend, and no, we got to do Root the Solid. Come on.
No, we can do it. No, we listen. You're talking about doing a watch party?
Yeah.
Is that what she's asking? Or if I'm going to personally go see these movies?
Yeah. She's talking about Ruth wants to do a watch party. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've already said we'll do. We're gonna do. We're gonna do.
Ruth, you got it.
Yeah. I said that on the stream. But as far as me, if she's asking me personally, I just didn't like. I didn't like the first two of that trilogy. I just thought they were. I just didn't think they were that great movies. And Terrifier is just not for me, man. Just we can watch them on the streams and shit like that. I mean, definitely have to do that on a Twitch.
Yeah.
But me personally, I will not be. I saw enough of those franchises.
Yeah, but I was going to ask a second ago back to Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, do you think that? Yeah, because what we're mentioning about that being like chapter 1 of Secret Wars. Do you think that because they haven't really like, let's say, communicated that necessarily, even though the hardcore nerds are definitely inferring that, but they haven't necessarily like made that a big component of the marketing. Do you think that's going to be something that's really emphasized with the movie itself, that it's not just going to be like, okay, here's the Deadpool and Wolverine team up, and once that's over, it's kind of a sort of standalone chapter, or are they really going to like lean into the idea like no, we're really emphasizing this is the beginning of Secret Wars within the context of the movie itself?
Well, they won't call it Secret Wars, but this is the TVA. That's your thing. That's going to be your defining point. That's going to be if you see the TVA and you see those people and you watch Loki and you understood what's going on now and what the threat is, that's the beginning of the story. Its culmination will be when all these realities and things from these realities come together and fight. But for all intents and purposes, it began back in Loki. As soon as you see the TVA on screen, they're a big part of all this. I think Loki is going to be a big part of this as well. I don't think you've seen the last of him. That version of Loki you saw at the end of season 2, that's the Loki that is probably going to have to send, because remember, he has control of all of it now. He's the guardian of all of it.
And he's basically Atlas now.
Yeah, but he's going to have access to all of that, but he may not be able to interfere himself, but he will have to. That's what the war will be. It'll be his denizens versus whoever else's denizens, and then the universe will consolidate on that. But yeah, I don't think it'll be called Secret Wars for everything. I think you will just like Infinity War and Endgame. Those things were the Infinity War began as soon as you saw Thanos. But not every movie was called Infinity War. It's called the Infinity Saga in retrospect. But yeah, the moment he made his intentions clear that he was going, what he was going to do, that entire story was the Infinity War, the Infinity Saga. So yeah, I think that the elements that will make up Secret Wars will begin in Deadpool.
All right. And actually, maybe kind of an offshoot of that, since this is Deadpool, this is kind of the beginning of the goodbye to the Fox X-Men era. Maybe just ask everybody in the chat, just William too. It's like, just how would you rank, or what would you say were really like the highlights or the standouts of the Fox X-Men franchise? Because for me personally, I would definitely like, as far as like the proper team movies, the best ones for my money were X2, First Class, and Days of Future Past.
I thought X2, First Class were good. I think the original X-Men, the very first movie, Days of Future Past, Logan.
Yeah, Logan. Yeah, but again, I was referring to the team movies.
Logan, the team movies. Those are going to be mine. Then.
Yeah, and then as far
I
as
thought everything else was just really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and as far as the Wolverine movies, obviously, Logan's definitely the the very top of that. I think the Wolverine does get a little bit overlooked in that because of how much acclaim Logan got, but the Wolverine is also really, really good.
I think Galactus is going to destroy the fourth world, and somehow he and the Fantastic Four and the kids. Like I said, I don't know if the kids are there, but I just that's not because I just don't know yet. I don't have any. What happens to Doom and how we get him? I don't know. I don't know when we'll get Doom. With Galactus, though, Galactus actually makes sense before he even meets the Fantastic Four because the universe. Remember, you're going to have an alternate version, an Earth X version, a female version of Silver Surfer. So that you could be right. That could be the warning that Fantastic Four brings too, because he's going to be able to surmise that every universe is going to have a Galactus. Galactus is omnipresent. So when they consolidate, you'll probably see Galactus in here, but it won't necessarily, I possibly not be in a direct conflict with them. Galactus could come to Earth with this is kind of interesting actually. Galactus could come to Earth with Shaliba as his herald because that's the way that universe worked out. And yeah, maybe he lays waste and Reed Richards is trying to, he's a nullifier or something. Something happens where he's either trying to escape or trying to hide the world or try to do something, and that's when they cross realities. So he probably ends up destroying that reality, Reed Richards, in order to destroy Galactus, assuming that the universe would retcon itself and that it wouldn't matter, something like that. But then he accidentally puts himself in a mainstream universe. But he would come to the conclusion that Galactus hasn't hit this Earth yet. He's going to. So there's a lot. I mean, wow, it's cool not to know. I think that's this is the kind of thing where it's cool not to know yet. Like I said, the story's in the hands of people I trust, as far as I'm concerned. So I know whatever they give me, I'm probably going to in this level.
It's cool not to know with one company. It's frustrating not to know with the other company.
Well, yeah, because like I said, your resume is what you are. So
yeah. All right, what else you guys got for us? Let's see. Ruth, that's what was this here? Ruth had a couple I wanted to bring up. Let me go back to here. You bear with me. I'm just going back up here. No, I was not getting kicked in the head by kids tonight. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that was earlier. I told him at 10:46 it's probably doubtful that he's getting.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. Did you did you get to see Planet of the Apes tonight?
No, we wouldn't be here because I would have got to. I would still be at the movies. It's gonna be a streamer for me.
Well, again, it'll be.
I mean, it'll
be a streamer in June.
Yeah. If not end of May, I would doubt it. Either way, we'll probably do a watch party of that one. We'll probably do a whole thing of Planet of the Apes. To be honest with you, might end up doing like a Planet of the Apes. I don't know. It's just unfortunate. I just don't have the time to, especially for a movie that length.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it's definitely up there. But yeah, again, again, streaming is the as far as like where people see things for that's when Fantastic Four.
Yeah, so that's dude. But a lot of the pre-production is going to be done before any of the actors come down. I mean, they're just going to add them to all that. I mean, because you figure the scope and everything else, that's probably already going to be done, and then they just add it to it. So, I guess I'm really. I know I'm not. It's not shared by everybody I'm talking to. I mean, I'm getting like lukewarm feelings when it comes to Fantastic Four. So I can understand when people are like, it's a flip side for DC. I mean, a lot of you guys are excited about DCU. I'm just not. But now it's the flip side. A lot of these guys are not excited about Fantastic Four, and I'm super fucking excited. I can't wait to get Fantastic. I can't wait to get. I'm going to get Galactus. I'm going to hopefully make it to next year alive and well to knock that off of my bucket list.
Yeah, we'll be epic seeing that. You giant space. Just like what we saw the Celestials and Eternals really is a good idea of like the scope and scale of what Galactus should look should look like fully realized cinematically.
And
Again,
the
he's not
dude's
gonna be.
voice, that dude's voice is what I
Ooh, yeah.
always imagined
Oh
his
yeah.
voice sounding like. So you don't even have to alter it, man. You can like that voice is going to be perfect for him. Like I said, I just my theory is, and when it comes back to Celestial and things like that, don't take that off because I do want to answer.
Okay.
When it comes to the Eternals, I think the Eternals are on a different plane of existence. They're one of the universes that is going to get consolidated.
So you don't think that movie takes place within like Marvel or the Earth 616?
No, and I think that's the point. I'm starting to think that, and I think they might. There's going to be some curveballs here. There's going to be some M. Night Shyamalan type shit that they might throw at us, where a lot of these things are happening in other universes, even though you have seen certain characters that you know are tied to the MCU proper. Certain versions of them are not, and depending on what movie we've been watching and paying attention to, you'll see a universe get wiped out, and then you'll see that person in with their contemporary and be like, "Wait a minute, there's a guy that looks like you just like they did in the comics." So, but Eternals, I think is going to be. Is going to be, and I think that's going to lead to the mutant kind. And I think people are saying that's a deep cut. I'm like, no, it's not. It's really not. It's really, and like I said, there are people who get paid millions of dollars that can simplify it to us. And like I said, and if Franklin Richards is in there, Franklin Richards is a mutant. So you're helping bring about and a lot of this, maybe all these multiverses are in his imagination because he and the Dreaming Celestial, Sleeping Celestial have that ability. There's a lot with just what they put out with the Celestials. By the way, whoever's idea was to make Erisham the Judge speak, that is a big problem I have with it. Everything else I'm okay with. The Celestials just don't speak to us. It's like it will be like us like kneeling down and having a conversation with an ant on the ground. It's just not going to make any. It's no use to it. You know, the ant. What we are is beyond the ant's comprehension. And that's what the Celestials have always been presented as. They are beyond our comprehension. Galactus is beyond our comprehension. You know, we need boneheaded villains like Thanos and stuff to give you that relatability, but you're not supposed to relate to these entities. We are ants to them. Now, whereas the Celestials, they go about the universe seeding life. And they are very judicious about if their experiments are dead ends, they destroy them. If they look like they're going to cause a problem, they destroy them. So mutant kind would probably, once you create the sacred timeline and mutants are now in it in that manner, because remember, they may not necessarily be mutants in the Eternals universe that we saw. But once the the sacred line is created and there have been mutants throughout, that would probably change the Celestials' perspective about giving Earth the thumbs down, because otherwise we're a dead-end species. Apocalypse and Age of Apocalypse, humankind is called Homo sapiens or called flatliners because that's how we register when it comes to powers. So there's a lot that they can do,
Yeah.
and you know it's gonna be interesting to see. Okay, Ruthie, William and Brad. If you could choose to be a comic character, who would you be and why? Explain what attracts you to their powers.
I'm probably gonna. I think I would give the classic answer. I'd probably go Superman. I mean, it's like you don't have any of this without Superman. So he's the progenitor, and he's the ultimate embodiment of both strength and of goodness. So yeah, it would be Superman for me.
It's a tough one. That's a tough one. Superhero. I might say Green Lantern, just from the pure artistic creativity of the character.
Yeah, I think
especially Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern, where you didn't have as many limitations as the other.
Because he was a graphic artist, so it's like he had his imagination. He was predisposed, like really, getting really creative with his solid light constructs.
Yeah, and his ring didn't run out of power like theirs did. It was a lot longer. I remember you had to recharge the ring every 24 hours, but once he became the Green Lantern, you didn't have to do that, and it didn't. Yellow didn't affect it. They would come up with their lame explanation for that later on, but yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Green Lantern.
Yeah, but, yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that too, because one of the I remember as a kid, one of the first Kyle Rayner stories, I read in Green Lantern comics. Was what was the name? I forget the name of the story, but it was this one villain, Finality, I think her name was, where she steals the lantern battery from Kyle, and he's running low on juice, so he's having because she's has a vendetta with the Green Lantern Corps, so he's having to chase her down and get the lantern, get the battery back, and he ends up on this one planet, and the ring dies on him. I mean, he's really in trouble. So it's not it still doesn't last indefinitely, even when the extended kind of battery power you would get once you got with Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, because usually you had, like I said before, Kyle Rayner was 24 hours, and that was it. You had to, that was what they wrote into the storyline. And Yellow, it wouldn't work on anything Yellow. And once Green Lantern 50 came about, he no longer had, because he had the last ring, and they gapped it, and all of them took their limitations off the ring.
Yeah.
Plus, there was no Oa. Oa got destroyed too. So.
Yeah. But yeah, with me, yes. I mean, just take the stereotypical answer. I don't even like calling it that, because it's like I just call it the classic answer. Maybe is the better one, because Superman. It's like so you've got again, just I mean, human bodies like your strength made into a person, but also it's like use the goodness with that strength, and how how he uses it, and how he inspires people with it. And I mean, it's like it's what Superman brings out in other people is really his greatest power. So yeah, I would take Superman.
I do think they'll stick to July release date. I don't think there's anything getting in their way. They already just because we're just now finding out about the casting's been done. There are announcements about the casting. Actually know about it. So,
and that is not uncommon, by the way. I mean, and it's like, I can't go into specific examples, but I mean, my work as a journalist, like let's say I've learned through doing what I do that there can be things announced or cast or planned behind the scenes that don't get announced for like months. The public won't know about it for months until but it'll still be like actively on in place or behind the scenes, and it's just a matter of them deciding like when when the timing is right to drop it again without I can't cite anything, but that is not uncommon to have like casting already set up, and people might find it for like 6 months, even a year.
Real quick,
later.
RJ, if you're still in the chat, I'm asking a legit question. What would stop them from the? I personally, given their pattern of once they set a date, they just for things that Feige has been under complete control of. They're not,
I think probably what he's getting at, and RJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what he's getting at is probably just allocating the time for just the effects. Probably what I'm guessing what RJ is getting at with the in terms of and I mean Marvel. I mean, let's if you've been following some of the news, I mean they could probably stand to give their VFX guys more time. So, and that's not unique to any one project, but they have kind of built a reputation with that of being a little bit less than in terms of the timeline that a lot of VFX houses have been given. And I mean, that, again, they're not singularly the villains of that, to be clear, but I think that's what RG is getting at there.
Yeah, I currently don't see anything that would stop them from getting it out. But that's anything other than their discretion. Now they could just come out and just say, you know what, maybe like you said, maybe November is better for us. But I don't think. I know some people might have told me, well, that's when Superman Legacy is coming out. I'm sorry, they could release Fantastic Four on the same day as Superman Legacy, and it would fucking smash. Or Superman, James Gunn Superman. There's just no way. That's not going to be anybody's factor. No, there's nobody. Superman, that's going to make the money. It's going to make no matter where it's at. In my opinion, I don't think that's if you're going to see that, you're going to see that no matter what. And another movie being out there, you're probably just going to see both, and vice versa. I don't see. You're talking about a machine, that can just pretty much run over that movie. So I don't think that date's going to matter. Like I said, and now I'm not behind the curtain, so. But Marvel, like I said, I just they have the apparatus at their disposal right now as it is to be able to put these movies out. I don't see a reason. And when you're talking about November is not that far away. You're talking from July is 7, so you're talking about basically a 4-month time period. I don't. What are you going to get done there?
What do you think? There's still any chance that Superman might move? Because I think they're supposed to wrap up filming that end of July, so that's about a year between then and when it's supposed to debut. We both were saying initially when it was a drop, certainly with the strike, that we were expecting that there was a good chance it could move.
I think there's a possibility that it could, but not for the reasons you would think, though. I mean, as far as like the production, I think the production will be done in time now that he's picked up speed. He started shooting now. He started principal photography. We started that about a month ago or so. So you got about another 4 or 5 months of that, and then you got I think that has a chance. Now, the executives, the Warner Brothers executives, might panic, and if, say for instance, a Fantastic Four looks like it's going to make that date, and there's nothing stopping it from making a July date, they being unattached and just looking at it, as names and symbols on the paper, may move it not to be in the way of that. But I don't think it's going to matter. I think the people who are going to see Superman are going to go see it. The people who are not going to go see Superman are not going to see it. And Fantastic Four being in the neighborhood is not going to mean one difference to those people one way or another. It's not going to factor in for me, so I'm not going to, if I don't see Superman, there's other reasons involved with me not seeing Superman. So, but yeah, who knows?
All right.
Could be.
Well, yeah, that's just a thought that occurred to me, and but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Serial killers.
If I were my own horror movie, it'd probably be found footage. It'd probably be, in fact, certainly would be found footage, and probably, yeah, I probably would do something.
My serial killer movie would be killing found footage people that film it, because I fucking hate that genre. But yeah, Blair Witch Project turned me off. That was the beginning of the found footage phase, and that was the very first thing I saw was a turn off. I'm like,
well, and then it really kicked in a high gear after Paranormal Activity.
What's that in the corner? What's that in the corner? Oh my god! I'm like, what am I watching? I paid to see that. I paid for Blair Witch, and I still, 25 years later, want my money back. That movie was such a and then I'm sitting there, people were like, "Oh, could you believe that?" I'm like, dude, me and you seriously could have gone and we could have got lost in the forest, cried into the camera, and shot some abstract stuff, on a Kodak motion at that time, which is, I'm like, what was the deal with this? And then people were like, it's real. Those people, it's really, no, it's not. They're being interviewed on CNN. So the Blair Witch let them go for the interview, and then they're going to come back. Like, get out of here, dude. The found footage genre is that was hey, we no longer want to spend money. So here we go. Want to cut a budget? Found footage.
Well, I probably would make mine found footage. I probably would do, and it probably would be, I probably would do some kind of combination of it'd be like the hills have a found footage hills have eyes kind of thing, where it's people go off on some kind of adventure or something, some kind of documentary crew goes off and do some sort of
Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, but I wouldn't make it that I wouldn't go there. But they go off some cordoned off area or something. They would run into some kind of family of mutated people, or there's some kind of it's hidden menace out in the forest that they would encounter, or maybe I'd make it like suburban, like Paranormal Activity. But yes, see, found footage I was really resonating with because just how much I feel like I'm placed in the shoes of the people there. You know, it really it's a, and again, it's a pick your poison thing. I mean, it's a love it or hate it thing. I definitely understand that. You know, it's not for everybody, but yeah, that's always been why I really gravitated towards it, is because it really, you know, I feel very immersed. I feel very like I'm placed within the circumstances the characters are experiencing. So I feel like I'm really along for the ride. You know, in just such a very visceral way. So yeah, that'd probably be what I do, or I might even do something. Here's what I do. This would be cool. It would be I would love it would be almost like I would do like a segment within the VHS franchise. That's probably what I would do. I probably one because the VHS, I love those. I love the fact they're like now they've become now kind of like the annual sort of Halloween horror franchise, that they have a new one on Shudder every year now. I love that. So I would do like I want to do some kind of segment for a VHS movie. That'd be a lot of fun.
Reason why we never saw the cosplay is we never met that deadline. You guys remember I threw that out there. If we did it within, we can go back and play it. I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody clipped it, and it was a certain date that we were trying to reach. I forgot what the exact goal was, but we didn't reach it. We didn't even come close. So yeah, I was at that time. I was perfectly willing to do it had we reached that deadline. We didn't. You guys are revising things now just to try to get me to wear a Wonder Woman costume. And here's the reason why I won't do that right now, because that was the deadline. And if I will cheapen our deadlines, it's like if we don't play all the movies that we're going to play, and we will, it cheapens it makes it not mean anything. So if we set a deadline and we didn't get it, why would I do the thing I said I would do if we reached the deadline? I could keep that in my back pocket. So when we do want to hit a big hit thing, and now I can pull that out. It won't, I have something to use. But I had no problem with putting it on had we reached the deadline. I mean, you're talking to somebody who's not afraid to make himself look like a fool. I wear this shit to wrestling events. Okay.
Yeah, but you're not. But that doesn't. You look like a fool doing that. I don't think.
I look like a fool doing. I walk around the general public for the most part with a bright red shirt with a bright yellow lightning bolt going down the bit of it. I mean, go through my Instagram. I have no problem with looking like a complete fool. But that was for a cause, and that was for a specific deadline. So that's why we hadn't done the Wonder Woman.
Oh, Aaron's got a good one here. Did you hear the address from the Blair Witch Project? Yeah, I saw that they're saying because they're coming up on like the 25th anniversary and for when it came out, and they're saying okay, it's time to pony. Those guys, they all that cast got screwed. If you look into the history of that, and like how much money that movie made, and like how little of that they saw, they got cheated.
Yeah,
they got
like,
big
hey,
time
we
cheated.
just filmed you guys. We just filmed you guys out in the forest. Here's a couple of bucks. Get out of our face. That's what they did.
No, it wasn't even that. You know what? They've been on panels at conventions where they said this, that when Blair Witch, when it hit $100 million to the box office, that Artisan Entertainment, which is the company that was releasing it at the time, they sent each of them a fruit basket.
Were they really acting? Go out in the forest and act scared. Okay, here's your fruit basket.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. The movie made tons of money on a budget of like $8. So come on.
Hey, you know what? The people, the producers took a risk. It paid off for them. Hey, you got paid. Let's see, how much money did it make when it came out?
It did like
and the sequels were all. Yeah, because the Blair Witch Project. Well, I remember that summer of '99. Oh my goodness.
Oh my! I was in middle school, and I remember like how when I was finally seeing it, because of course I couldn't see it theatrically because I had parents who like said, "Oh no, it's rated R. You're not doing that." When I finally, I think it was around Christmas that year, like brother just rented it from Blockbuster.
Why was it rated R, by the way?
Just tons of F-bombs. I mean, that's really because it's not terribly violent. Because everything happens off screen. Yeah,
or scary for that matter.
But it's just full of F-bombs, so that's why.
Oh, I remember this. Hold on. I remember I'm looking at the missing signs right now. I remember when people thought the missing signs were actually there were promos.
Well, see, and that's what I mean. Even back then, I was smart enough to realize again that this is viral. This is proto viral marketing. But I mean, the fact that people again, I mean, it worked. If people going, it's one thing to like go along with the market, the idea that this really happened and this is real footage of these kids getting killed, and it just kind of maintained as like an open secret. That's one thing. But the I mean how many people like went along with it? It was like okay, so here's the ultimate. Here's what breaks that all down. So you're telling me that the studio bought the footage. They got hold of the footage of these documentary filmmakers going out in the woods and getting killed by this witch, and they got hold of it, and they put it out into theaters around the world, and made tons of money off it. And the family and friends of these of these kids, they didn't raise any objection. They were totally hunky dory with that.
FBI, anybody? I'm like, oh my goodness.
And then, like as William said, they were like Josh Leonard was on Leno like right before it came out too. So it's like, I mean,
I'm sitting in a break room somewhere. I think it was my drill weekend for Army Reserves, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, he's wanting to bet. I'm like, I'm not going to take your money because it's not, dude. And then at that time, we were watching CNN, and they were all on CNN being interviewed about the phenomenon of Blair Witch. And I'm like, is the Blair Witch there monitoring them? I mean, like I said, that movie was just such a, because the hype bringing up to it. Then when I finally saw it, I'm like, I waited that entire movie to be at least jolted to scare it. And that last scene, I wanted to punch my buddy for convincing. I'm like, that's it. Because I sat there, I'm like, what is there's the end to this, right? It's like, no, that's it, man. And they're just out there, and I'm like, I remember getting in an argument with them. This is like at that time. Obviously, I would have 25 years of other horrible movies that I would see in my lifetime. But at that time, I'm like, I want my money back. And that was the age where I would go there and I would lie. I would say, you know what? Like I said, crying baby. Somebody threw up. Cloverfield. Somebody threw up on me. I ruined my movie going experience. Can I have my money back?
Well, Cloverfield, that might have been true because there was, and even Blair Witch. I mean, there were reports of like people getting motion sickness from the shaky cam.
And I'm like, like I said, for me, the found footage genre is just a way to just save money. If you don't want to pay anybody, there you go. And a lot of people who've worked on those movies, like you said, they're just still getting like, yeah, you wanted to get paid for that? Oh, I'm sorry. Read this contract. For me, serial killer movies, I love serial killers. That's my genre. But let's see, mob stories, and serial killer like Iceman. Yeah, there's a couple of them. Blair Witch was made by college students. Who made it? It was actually made with them, right? But I know that it was actually
they were the cast, or I don't know if they were college students, but they were playing college students. Yeah, the directors are Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. And actually, originally, here's some trivia on that. Or like originally, what the idea was that because they had on the Sci-Fi Channel, they had the documentary about like the mockumentary called Curse of the Blair Witch, and the idea was that there was going to be like primarily that, and they were going to intersperse some of the like found footage within that. And then they ended up switching that up because when they were doing the editing, they realized we could have like a whole story from the footage that we filmed out in the woods. So they ended up doing that, and that became just kind of a special feature on the DVD with the Curse of the Blair Witch. But as far as found footage, like Paranormal Activity, that was where it really took off 10 years later. And I remember like how insane the the hype around that was. And that was one and see, that's the thing I appreciate about that, especially the first one, especially is I've seen this rumor, so it might happen.
I would not believe that at all. I just don't see it. I just don't see it, and I just don't see him leaving where he is right now. And he's basically working. He's doing his. Doing his. I think it's going to be Sam Raimi, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Plus, the word scoop. The word scoop means it's probably not true.
Yeah, yeah. But go back to the parent. The thing I really enjoyed about that is the fact that again, like 95% of that movie takes place in that house in the first one. So they even more so than Blair Witch, they really had to get creative with with how they're implementing their scares and how they're implementing how everything that's going on. And they made it for like a fraction what Blair Witch cost. And so just
which
the
was $250,000, which is
yes, yeah. I mean, they Paramount TV, they made that for like $6 on a Pop-Tart, So, again, the craftsmanship and the improvisation of that is something that, again, the fact that, because again, it scared the hell out of me when I saw it. And yeah, I'm aware, found footage, again, that's very hit or miss for everybody. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. It's like, I'm in the love it camp, and it really connected with me. So that's why that's when I was really dug.
So in Gun Superman, if it underperforms, depends on what the Mendoza line is. We don't know what's success with them. Where do you think DCAW should go next? I think what they're going to do is they're going to end up just mass licensing off the IPs and just collecting the check. I think they're going to, if they think they
so basically what the fandom is asking them to do right now.
Well, certain aspects of the fandom.
Yeah.
But I think what would end up happening is they would basically it would still be them. They would still be the IPs, but they would give the control to other production companies and let them get their backers to do it. Like let them get their legendaries and let them get their Weinstein type of situations where they are on the hook for the money. And as the IP holder, as the distributor, Warner Brothers would make their product. But I think if, and I don't, we're a long ways away. If that were to happen, I think they would stop doing that, because at that point they will, have, I don't know if they would give up, but they would probably just not see a financial future in them making the primary investment. Why not put themselves in a situation where they can collect? See, if you're the distributor and you license it out, you're guaranteed not to lose any money, because you're not the one putting up the money.
Yeah, you're signing the contract saying, okay,
yeah,
you get this, you're paying us this for this, so we're just sitting back collecting the check. You go off and make the movie or make the show, and
we get the money for the toys and all that. We get all that. We get all the promotion money, and I think that's what could happen if Superman or this universe were not to take off. I think that's what would happen, because financially it would make the most sense. Let's keep these IPs alive. Let's keep them going, but let's limit our liability. So that's what I think would happen for.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you've also talked about, you kind of foresee that happening. Maybe not on quite the same scale we were kind of laying out with that scenario, but you kind of foresee that happening anyway.
Yeah, because there's too much money in it. I think if Superman, and I'm not saying it will, I think if James Gunn Superman were to not do well, I think they would do it wholesale. I think they would do it. They would pick their biggest, most expensive IPs wholesale, and they would let other production companies handle them. It would still be under the Warner Brothers banner, but it would be in that production company, that person, JJ, whoever you have would be the one putting up the money and doing all that. Now, I do think eventually they are going to do it on a much more limited scale with limited stories and things like that, simply because there's money in it, and it's all it's a transaction.
So to clarify, like let's say one in particular, the people are asking forward to be, come out of that. But even extrapolating beyond that, so you're talking about like Warner Bros. Would still be the distributor, or still have their name attached. So
they're going to own the IP.
So it would, like, if it were at Amazon, or if it were at Netflix, or if it were at Hulu, whatever. So it would still have the Warner Brothers logo pop up when you play the. Okay.
Yes, because they're always going to be attached to it. Even if another company produces it and puts it on their platform and makes the initial money, like that platform that does the production will collect the profit, but Warner Brothers will have already gotten their fee, and they would get a percentage of that profit. Plus, if there's any toys, like if there's Sandman toys being sold, that's DC's money. If there were Daredevil Netflix toys being sold at the time, that's DC's money, or that's Marvel's money. Vice versa. You own the IP, and you're just basically having an agreement that this company is going to produce this, and this is what they're guaranteed versus what you're guaranteed. But you put yourself in a position where you never lose the money. As a distributor, an IP holder, you're never going to lose the money. That's why whenever you hear the fanboy logic, and some of the people who've had on our very screen say, "This will never happen. This will never happen." I can't believe that these people have ever been in a room where a transaction happens. When there's money on the table and there's a deal to be made, people make deals all day. Things happen like that. So you could do that. And like I said, your job as a company is to put your company in the best position where they can come out on top and not lose money. So that's how that goes. But
Well, still,
yeah,
like, would because I don't know if these necessarily quite fall under the same example of what you're laying out there, but like with Marvel, Netflix, or with the Spider-Man movies with Sony, they those are, I think those are a little bit more of a co-production.
don't
But
know. No, well, it's co-production, but here's the difference, the caveat. Sony owns that IP.
yeah,
Marvel does not own that IP.
but it's like
Sony owns that
every
IP.
Spider-Man movie, honestly, you'll have
Is
the
yeah,
Sony logo, and then you'll have the Marvel Studios logo. But Marvel is
yeah,
not the producer of
yeah. Marvel,
Spider-Man No Way Home, but
they
they're
are the
still making some
producer.
kind
They are the producer. They're the co-production, but Sony owns the IP. So whereas with DC would always own the IP, and they're not selling the IP. They can always take it back. They're never going to actually sell an IP like Sony did or what Spider-Man did, because they'd never be that desperate, even in their dilapidated state. That was what Marvel was going through in the late 90s was on a different level. So DC will always own its IPs. They will always have control over their IPs. However, if they didn't want to take the financial risk on it, as far as spending the $200 million, as far as getting the financiers together, getting the production together, and getting all the loans and all that together, then you hand it over to a production company, and they take that risk. They take that liability. They are the only ones in the game that can actually lose money, because that fee that the IP holder gets up front is guaranteed before you even start
yeah,
filming.
and you're not splitting it. It's not the box
Yeah,
office like 50-50 split kind of thing. It's just, okay, you want to do this? Okay, here's what we're asking. Here's our asking price. Okay,
yeah.
here's the check. Go make it.
And they will sign in the contract that they were paying, like, there's certain things you have to do our way and all that, and they'll work that out. Also, when it reaches home media, or when it reaches streaming or anything else, then that IP still belongs to the distributor, like Warner Brothers. If Warner Brothers were to license it out to anybody out there, they have the option of taking it first on their straight to home video before they give it to another streamer, or that can be worked in. So if Netflix wanted to air something, or Amazon wanted to air something that was still owned IP by DC, they would have to work out another financial deal. That would probably happen before the movie even started filming. So right at the top, the IP holder is making a profit. So whenever some person tells you something can never happen, and there's all profit involved, laugh at those people. And it doesn't matter. A lot of people will get hung up on particular titles and IPs and all that. It doesn't matter. If there's profit to be made, there's always a possibility that something can be happen. And it's hard to have the conversation with people who've gotten caught up in the fanboy bullshit, because it's just a transaction is all it is. It's that simple, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, of course, you mentioned that in the context of the upcoming DC slate. Of course, that everybody's mind drifts immediately to certain things. But yeah, again, like you've said before, like you foresee DC IP licensing happening. Like, even if Superman is wildly successful.
Yeah, why would I stop making money over here just because I'm making money over there? That's some fanboy. That's fanboy bullshit to think that somebody would stop revenue production or generation on one spot because they're making money over here. You get rich by being greedy, not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And to not take advantage of that if the opportunity arose would be stupid. That's dumb shit that we can say on YouTube. We can say stupid shit that never, the confusion and all that dumb stuff that comes out. We can say that as YouTubers because there are no consequences for us saying stupid shit. There are consequences for executives and IP holders doing stupid shit, saying dumb shit on the internet. Oh, it'll never happen. It's too confusing and all this. That's dumb shit we say on the internet. We turn our computers off. No harm, no foul. When you execute your business like that, there's harm. So nobody is going to turn down money if there's a good deal to be made. There's just nobody's going to do that. Look at what's happening with these companies right now. It's just not going to happen. If there's an opportunity to make money, these guys aren't fans. These
Zazzle
guys, I
definitely
think,
is a fan, as we've said
yeah,
before.
Zazoff would sell the paint off the wall in his office if it could mean bringing down that debt and adding a couple more zeros to his volume. You think if the right opportunity were to come along, and if I hear about it as a shareholder, that somebody was going to give you money to take a particular story and go somewhere, I hear about that, and here we are with $7.40 stock. You think I'm not going to be mad and call for your job? Like I said, fanboy logic is one thing, math is another.
Well, speaking of another, we got a variation on so both a sci-fi center term and something these guys do to annoy me. Traza.
Oh wow, are you fucking serious? Now the shit is mutating.
I was saying
our non-existent words are mutating into. Oh, good lord!
I was saying when we were doing the beekeeper, when you stepped away a couple of times, I said, we got to find some way to like get this on a T-shirt, like all this
We will. I got
food.
to make time for you. How you doing, Landell? Let's see. What did you say?
Oh, I think he's talking about
oh no, he can't sell. So he cannot do that. He cannot do that. He can. Do you mean okay? So Spidey, is this a semantics here? Are you saying like what I just said, licensing out? Because they will not sell the IPs. They will not do that. There's a process that has to happen and a vote that has to happen. He would never ever get the votes for that because selling those IPs would devalue those assets. And those assets add to the overall value of the company, which as a stockholder, you technically own a piece of. So no, and so are you? Maybe I'm going back too far. What was this 8 minutes ago? Are you mean he will sell when you say sell? Because see, a lot of people get that in their head. The word sell is not the same. What I'm talking about licensing, because they would never actually physically sell. Marvel taught everybody the lesson of never doing that again. It saved them, but look what happened. Look how long it took them to get things back under their umbrella. So you read your last few contests. Okay, so. Oh well, 15-year-old. I mean, I could see. I was arguing with grown-ass people about Blair Witch Project.
Oh yeah. I think there was if you're familiar all with the YouTube channel Good Bad Flicks, because he's done a lot of videos on things like this, and he did one on Blair Witch a while back, and he mentioned there was a poll conducted in '99 that said that like 4 out of 10 moviegoers thought the Blair Witch was legit.
Yeah. No. I'm going to disagree with this. Sony has made the best Spider-Man movies on any medium. Even before the Spider-Man 2 is one of the greatest comic book sequels of all time. I like the originals.
Well, nobody but Sony has made Spider. I mean, again.
Well, but he's talking, without MCU. Spider-Man 2 is one of the greatest comic book movies in my opinion, especially the best sequel. Spider-Man 1 was great. I like the Amazing Spider-Man. I don't think if it hadn't been for Sony wanting to cash in on the greed cow, you would have gotten the third one, no matter how the second one did, because no Spider-Man movie, live action Spider-Man movie, has made less than $700 million, and that's even unadjusted Spider-Man movies. And to be honest with you, I think that Sony should definitely continue to make a live action. I think they should adopt some of the storytelling apparatus from the animation, but that's easy enough to do.
Aaron says Alien Abduction is one of my favorite found footage movies. You haven't seen it. I recommend everyone to watch it. Okay, I don't think William's gonna be interested, but I'll give it a look.
Like I said, I don't, I can sit through anything. Harry Potter just made WB Games 23 million units, and Batman is the biggest IP. Not anything else after Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings with Joker and Harley. Oh no, you could. There's a lot of DC. I mean, when they're managed properly, it's a cash cow. They just haven't been. That's the sad truth. No, it's still alive. It's still alive. And it's alive and well. Just because something has been mismanaged, it doesn't mean that the asset, the value asset is there. I mean, Batman minimum. Batman, you don't even, I don't even need to tell you who's playing Batman when it's taking place, who the villain is. I just need, once I start making a Batman movie, you automatically got $400 million right there and then. Just the fact that you put that bat on there, that's just one IP. And that's because if you cultivate these assets, you can make a lot of money off of these assets, because you do what DC did for 85 years, and you branch off and you connect. You have spheres of influence as to where there's Superman, Batman, they all have spheres of influence that support other comics, just like Marvel does. There's always going to be a core group of comics where 60 some odd % of the characters, or the characters that derive from them, came from those base characters. So there's your value right there. DC is the biggest potential IP holder in general, because it's definitely not as limited as Harry Potter either. So no, that's a modern take, Antonio. No, he won't be allowed to. He won't be allowed to, and then because of late 90s Marvel, there's actually, I think there's laws and stuff that got passed because of that. Because you have to bring it to a vote. You have to bring that to the surface for everybody to see, because of the fact that if I own part of your company, you're selling a very valuable asset of the company and devaluing the company. So no, you couldn't do that. You could get away with that in the late 90s, but the rules have definitely changed. William, is there a possibility that we're assuming that if someone buys WB, they're going to start a DC Universe right away and let Gunplan run the 5 years before they cancel it? Not necessarily. It depends on where it is. It depends on how deep this universe has been developed and is actually in production when someone would take over. If they're like 3 or 4 movies in, then nothing's guaranteed. Though he could be 3 movies in, it doesn't guarantee that he's going to get 10 years. It all depends on who buys them and if they have an incoming vision. If somebody right now is looking at DC Films and Warner Brothers and looking at these IPs, and they're before they even make their offer, they have their own vision in their head. If they come in with a vision, it's very possible that vision becomes king or queen. That's why, and that's going to be their right. They are the owners of the company and all those IPs now. Let's see. All right, guys, I see certain topics in the chat that please keep that shit out of our environment. We work really hard to not get caught up in that nonsense. So please, refrain. If you guys want to DM each other on that, please. James Gunn is having so much heat. This movie needs a miracle. The word of mouth will be a deciding factor. Like I said, by virtue of how this was all handled, it's a lose-lose battle. So when you're not going to win on certain levels either way, you might as well just go ahead and do what you want to do and see how it works. But those characters have been since 90s or 80s outside of Gotham City. These characters are not big of budget. No, they haven't been. Their potential has not been fulfilled. That doesn't mean they're not big. You've seen what can happen with any given IP when it's been properly managed. I understand this. Large portion of DC fans. Listen. I can't, with a straight face, tell you to do otherwise. As a fellow consumer, as a fellow customer, I have no right to tell you not to feel that way. It's just, but they earned that, you know. Every decision, whether you agree with it or not, has consequences, and the consequences of how this all came about is they're real, and I cannot tell. Like I always say, if you're excited about James Gunn's DCU, that's the right answer. You have every right to be. If you're not, for the reasons like this, that's the right answer as well. It's just really, you know, it's gonna be interesting to see how it all folds out. You know. William, I know you don't drink. I've never even tasted alcohol. But I'm curious if you're a fan of John Top or not. Bar Rescue. My job. I know of the show. I've actually there's been restaurant or bars that were rescued in here and then, you know, near me in Vegas. So yeah, and I do go to bars every now and then. When I was starting fantasy football, that was where you went to do your drafts and watch all the sports. You know, I would be the only person in the bar. As soon as they saw me come through the door, they had my soda ready because they knew I didn't drink. I would sit at the bar on my days off, and we would just watch the games, and you know, because it was a culture there. But you know, and I would get made fun of because I was literally the only one there not drinking. But yeah. I don't think we're going to go long enough to open up the chat tonight. No. Not even O'Doul's. Yes, I will be at Double or Nothing. That is the 26th of this month. I will be there. Oh yeah, shut it down. That's what he says. Financially, I think they themselves will get out of the direct business of it. But once again, I just think they'll let other people take the risk. Now, that does, you know, mean that the majority of the narrative will be going to another company. But that's, like I said, that happens all the time. They'll still be the distributor. They'll still be the owner of the IP. So.
Yeah, and there is also, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be even as black and white as like it's either a success or a failure. I mean, there could be a middle ground to where it's like it does, you know, decent, but doesn't like do gangbusters. But, you know, as William said, you know, he still anticipates licensing the IP to different third parties anyway, you know, in different capacities, you know, even if it is a big success. So it's like it's, you know, if it's a relative success, you know, that could still, you know, happen while they still produce like their, you know, their mainline franchise, but you know, they realize, you know, there's still cash we can make on this by, you know, licensing the IP elsewhere.
Yeah,
maybe pertaining to certain things people are, you know, really enthusiastic about, you know, in that particular respect.
You see, and I know what you're saying, but when it comes back to that, it just takes away the business aspect of it a little bit.
Well,
because
I get it, but
anywhere. Yeah,
I get that, but it's just
that's
it's the one that's the most in the spotlight, let's say.
Because be honest with you, and this is something I had to learn, only stupid people turn down money. Fanboys on the internet can turn down other people's money, but in real life, only stupid people turn down the kind of money or opportunity. Like I said, you no matter who the CEO is, Christopher Nolan comes in. Like I said, he's going to come in. He's going to have his Oscars. He's going to have them with him in his hand. He's going to put them on the table. He's going to crack open some Chardonnay. He's going to pour a glass. He's going to push a script towards your way for something. I don't care what the superhero is that's currently going on somewhere in a James Gunn universe. He pushes his script towards you, and you know, he pours his wine and he takes his Oscars and sits them on his lap while you read it. You think that anybody with a brain in their skull is going to say no to that if it's any good? And with Nolan's is regarded as, you know, the GOAT and all this stuff. Okay, you think it's Denis Villeneuve after he collects these statues If and when he wins for Dune, when he comes in an office and says, I want to do so and so. I know James Gunn's doing that over there. I want to do so and so. And he's got all his statues there, and he's got his wine or Canadian beer, whatever he's drinking. He pushes you a script. You gonna tell him no? Stupid people will. But if you're in the corner office in a couple of years at Warner Brothers, I'm hoping that since you were smart enough to at least get there, you're not one of those stupid people. So at some point, these both gentlemen I just named you work for other production companies. Any big name that a lot of these guys run their own production companies. So they're going to see, we'll put the money together for you. We got our lenders. We got all these. I mean, all Nolan has to do is whisper legendary, and they'll be there with anything he needs. So that's done. You're going to tell me that I don't have to foot the bill for any of this stuff, that everything I do it's going to be instant profit. If you sell some toys, I make if you sell fucking diapers with this on it, I get the money. You guys get your cut, your profit, because it's your risk and you get the first dollar. I don't have to, I'm not risking anything and I get to make money. You think somebody's going to say no to that? Non-fanboy with the fanboy logic, because that's not even being allowed into the building. I'm talking where the grown-ups are talking. So by virtue of that, you would have to come up with some licensing agreement because you are giving them limited control for that particular story. That's going to happen. That's going to happen because these big names are going to want to do their own thing. They're going to want to do their own thing and with their own scope. It's not going to be forever. It's not going to be a complete universe, but you may have a Batman story that you want to tell. That's not consistent with what's going on. You think somebody's going to say no to that? The only people that would say no to that are people who wouldn't have any stake in the game, who by saying no, the damage of saying no and the loss of saying no will not affect them because they're sitting behind keyboards like me. They're making decisions with a mouse. These guys are making decisions with hundreds of millions of dollars. Do you actually believe that we are not inevitably going to have a situation to where somebody, a big director, decides they want to do their thing? And if I'm DC Film, if I'm from Warner Brothers, I'm not going to stop what James Gunn's doing if it's making me money and if it's getting a foothold. But I'm not going to say no to Christopher Nolan. I'm not going to say no to Danny Villeneuve. I'm not going to say no to Mango, any of these other guys, the highbrow guys with credibility that I'm trying to build as Warner Brothers. It's not going to happen. That only happens on Twitter and YouTube and with our fellow fanboys. That doesn't happen in real life. So, yeah, to answer your question.
Well, another great here, one of the best ever, in fact, from Aaron. Not even close.
Three.
Four. Well,
3D, dude. The shark stops right here. The shark stops right here
when it hits the window.
And I remember taking my glasses off. I'm like, well, this was fucking useless. I was thinking that because I was with my dad. My dad was pissed, and he's cheaper than I am. Yeah,
that was 83.
Oh my God, Lou Gossett, man, rest in peace. That was
the only. I think we can all stand in agreement. Like the only truly great Jaws movie is the original.
It really is. Once the shark starts taking it personal, sniffing out the Brodies, I'm like
traveling from New York to the Bahamas to track them down.
Or areas where the shark shouldn't be able to exist. I know you're going to ask for me to answer this. You'll type it 10 times, so I'll answer it right now, Anthony. William, I'm coming from the perspective of a person who hasn't been in DC Cinematics for a long time. I think I can go in with a clean save. Yeah, that better be the case, by the way, because like I said, that it needs to appeal to the other 95. Fuck us. It really needs to appeal to people who haven't seen a comic book movie before, to be honest with you. Because for most people, like I said, outside the geekosphere, they're just normal folks. So it has to appeal to Joe Average. So yeah, that needs to be the case.
Antonio says he thinks 4 is the worst. Yeah, but
That's sad. It's a tie. The shark coming through the screen. It's racing. They're racing. Just imagine two bad 3D sharks racing at each other. So
you know, one of the shark like standing up like for like 10 seconds while the ship rams it, and at the end of 4, yeah, yeah. I mean, two is passable, maybe two. I sorting it,
I can't even
but
remember. 2 is unremarkable. I can't remember hating it.
yeah.
Brad, I don't think they have a middle ground with this. It's bigger go home because that's the way it's being treated by board members. I don't know what the board members are being like I said, I don't know what the board members have been told. If, like I've always said, if the board members haven't been lied to, but then I'm thinking it's David Zasloff and that's pretty much what he does. But if David
Yeah.
Zasloff sat the board members down and said, this is going to take some time. We got an uphill battle, but I think this is where I think we can be. This is our projection from here, here, and here. If you had an honest conversation, then the board members would be like, okay, we're on board for the long haul. If he had a CinemaCon type situation where he basically lied and said this movie's going to make $1 billion, which is this is locked. This is locked. You can start making plan. No, then and if it doesn't, then you're going to have an issue. Yeah, it all depends on what Zasloff, because this is his company still. James Gunn is an employee. The stockholders don't answer. They're not. They're going to go after the neck of Zasloff, not the employee. So if the stock doesn't do well, or if this movie doesn't do what he's told him it could do, if he told him it's going to be $1 billion, $2 billion, it's going to be Avatar, Way of the Water type money type thing, and realistically it's not, but then you're in trouble. But if he had a long term, we're going to take it in the natural while, but I need you guys to stick with me. And then, so if it doesn't do well, then they're like, okay, this is what he explained to us. We're on board. And then he's bought himself some time and credibility. So it all depends on the conversation that he's had with his stockholders. I would not want to be in there at $7.40. But what do you think, Brad? This question was directed at you. So
I mean, yeah, it's pretty much everything you said there, Antonio. It's the X factor that we're not privy to, of course, is like what internally is the what is discussion among the board members, between Zaslav and James Gunn, and as far as their projections for, are we going to come? What was it? The conversation? Yeah, we're gonna have to stick it out for a while on this because of like how mismanaged this IP has been by prior administrations. We're gonna have to build ourselves back up, or was it a conversation of, and I know this sounds like more like something be from the Zaslav end was the other possibility, like no, I got the Guardians guy now, so we're just gonna mushroom cloud DC back into $1 billion hits one after another, like right out of the gate. It was that, then it's like, yeah, that was not the conversation to have.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, and yeah, you have to. I just hope I don't know, because I would have think that, hey, this guy's a level-headed guy. He's going to be really listed, but like I said, he's still telling cinemas that he's behind them. He's like rah rah rah, and I'm like, dude, are you serious? I mean, so I don't know what the conversation was, but that's going to dictate how quickly the plug is pulled. Because like I said, I don't think necessarily that a brand new CEO or whatever of Warner Brothers would necessarily squash James Gunn's universe if it's making any money. But I don't think that's going to stop them from doing their own thing. They will just allot the resources to their thing, and at some point they will just run out the clock on his stuff if that's what they want to do. But I don't want to read the mind of somebody who's not even in position yet. So
yeah, that's, I mean, all we can do is speculate on that end of it. I mean, what good does that do?
Yeah, we're basically playing a waiting game, but I've disconnected myself from it for the most part. Like I said, I've disconnected myself from the whole DC thing, but not to the point where I'm not paying attention, not to the point where I'm not kind of still rooting on the sidelines. Like I said, I'm still here. I'm just not in the arena with my sign and my belt. I'm at home, rooting you on with my guys. Please stop copying. I've seen this everywhere now. None of you have checked with me to see if it was okay to copy my idea. And I've been calling it the remote control, but if I have to rename it just for copyright reasons, I will. But I'm using this to navigate my way through a lot of the stuff. I mean, and if it ends up being good, then guess what? It's a bonus. but I'm not going to invest myself into this stuff again like I was doing before, because it took up a lot of time and energy that I could have been spending on something else just to basically have it in the way it did. So I learned, like I said, DC University, my diploma, like I said, I'm going to get an actual diploma made from DC University that shows you all the shit what we've graduated from the last 7 years, you know. Like I said, my professor at DCU says, don't go jumping in that pool. Let the other knuckleheads jump in there, and if they come out alive, then you go in. That's what DC University is. All right, so still waiting for me.
See, Anthony. Yeah.
It's only natural getting angry. They're consumers after all. If they don't want to do something, they don't. Yeah, that's what I've always been able to. That's what I've always told people is never tell a fan what he or she should be doing. That's literally their job as a fan, as a customer. That is it. And I think what happens is people use the word fans and stupid analogies and stupid words to call us. And like I said, when you're calling your customer everything but a customer, you're wrong. When you're calling your customer a cult, you're wrong. When you're calling your customer this, and that, you're wrong. Because the first and foremost, the most important thing they are to these companies is a customer. And if you cannot resolve things with your customer, then you lose them. And like I said, no matter what kind of vitriol we spit on these platforms, none of that matters to these guys. That doesn't pay for anything. That gets somebody clicks, yay, congrats. But as far as getting content and movies you wanted to see get made, and being happy with what's out there, I can't tell a fan that I don't even take critics scores and stuff like that seriously, because I don't believe in telling the customer what to do with their money, or how to not be angry about a product. Who am I to tell you to be happy or angry about a product? I mean, if you're happy about a certain movie, congratulations. That means something to you. If you're not, you're not. But I never, like I said, when people tell somebody to give up on something or move on from something, that is not your right. You're just blowing shit out of every orifice that is available to you. And no customer should listen to that about anything. You could insert whatever topic is. The customer is the customer. That's literally their role to make that decision, not someone else.
Yeah, let me pull back up this one I had from Anthony. Brad has another martial arts movie, police movie. You like the same amount as The Raid. I finally got to do it. Finally got to have a stream. Yes, I'm going to keep bragging about that. You can recommend me to watch.
We're in the same place that we are if we never showed The Raid. That's where we're at.
Yeah. As far as, are you talking specifically like martial arts cop movies? It's like, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think Police Story, definitely I would put, that's a really good one. As a franchise, I put Police Story up there. Yeah, as far as like let me think on that for a minute, because that is a good question as far as like specifically martial arts of cops or martial arts of like undercover things. I mean, there's tons of them that come out of Hong Kong. I mean, Don Yen had one called Raging Fire come out a couple years ago. It's pretty good. Actually, a lot of Donnies. Flashpoint's amazing. You should see Flashpoint if you haven't. And it's not the cool thing about that is like, of course, he has the same title as a well-known DC comic story, but it's of course very different. Flashpoint, I would definitely very highly recommend. Actually, yeah, so like Hong Kong really kind of they did a lot of those in Hong Kong. They're still doing to a certain extent they still kind of do that today with the where it's cops taking on gang members, or like on organized crime, like like Hong Kong, in the Hong Kong action sphere. I'd say like take the plunge. Yeah, I'd say take the plunge with like a lot of Hong Kong, like 80s and 90s Hong Kong. That's full of like kung fu cop kind of movies. If you want to kind of dive deeper on that, I'd say go. Yeah, that's kind of a broad umbrella, but yeah, go with that. There was one Donnie did, in, I think it was '89, called it's part of the In the Line of Duty franchise. That's actually really good too. The In the Line of Duty movies. He was in the fourth one. That's one of my favorites. So that's In the Line of Duty would be good. Like Police Story, Raging Fire, Flashpoint. Trying anything stateside maybe that's done that kind of. Again, it's like I know Hong Kong really they always kind of had like they always kind of had the market cornered in a lot of ways, like martial arts cop series. Not that nobody else ever did them, but it's again you kind of associate it with Hong Kong a lot. So yeah, it's like just look up like Hong Kong action. You'll find plenty of that, man. You will definitely find plenty of that. What else you guys got? I think William had to step away for a second. Let's see. John Woo's the killer. Where should you watch John? If it's John Woo in general, And I will always say that. Listen, I will die on the hill that Mission Impossible 2 was the best in the series. I'm so sick of the revisionist history of the Mission Impossible 2. People not liking that. The Mission Impossible 2 was awesome. Mission Impossible is rad, man. Brad, what are your thoughts on the martial art Kabu Steven Skull? Most of them suck. Sorry, it's like he's some of his early work wasn't bad. But yeah, I mean, what did he do that wasn't bad? He did what he did. Hard to Kill. He did Marked for Death. He did Out for Justice. Those were. But the Glimmer Man actually I thought was pretty good too. The one he did with Keanu Reeves. But yeah, it's like I mean his batting he's not batting 1,000. He's not batting 500. He's not batting like 25. I mean he's like it's Seagal's body of work. I mean it's like he's got like 5 or 6 like really strong ones out of like the 50 or so he's done, and everything else is total garbage. I mean and he sleepwalks through everything, especially now. And the thing is, he thinks it's kind of like the comparison that William was making, like Statham is like Seagal, if he was like really, really just bringing the thunder and everything. And yeah, I totally agree. Because Seagal, he still thinks like he's as far as like action movie people, that he think he's at the level of like of The Rock or Statham or Van Damme or Scott Adkins or Schwarzenegger. Yeah, he's just no.
Isn't he hiding out in like Moscow or something? Or isn't he making movies for
friend now too? Yeah, he's. Aaron says he's a fraud. I think he's.
I won't call him a fraud. But in the face of guys like Jason Statham and a lot of other people, it's just really hard to be like, I can't watch his movies now.
Yeah, well, have you seen this? He a couple of years ago, because again, he's really kind of gotten close to Putin. He there was this one. Look this up on YouTube. There's this one Aikido demo he did in Russia that kind of went viral, and it's just. I'm sure we can't pull it up because we'll get in trouble. But he's just half-heartedly just tossing guys around like I'm just so bored doing this, and he's putting about as much effort into it as he does into his average fight scene. I forget where I saw this.
Chuck Norris at 85 is probably going to be more impressive than he was.
I forget where I saw this. Somebody left a comment on one of those. This made me laugh so hard. This comment where somebody saw that video and they said, when he goes out there, well, he obviously ate 2 whole pieces of smoked pack of cigarettes before he went out there. Yeah, Seagal. He had a few pretty solid ones early on, and Belly of the Beast it was pretty good.
How old is he? Is he like 70?
He's like 70 now, yeah. But in Belly of the Beast, even that's like, I mean, his fight scenes are like 90% his stunt guy. You could so tell. So yeah, he had a few good ones, but everything else is just and because again, he just sleepwalks through everything he does.
72.
Anthony says. For Seagal for Bane. I think even William probably would say, let's not disgrace Bane like that.
I mean, the quality talent level would be equal.
William and Brad, I'll play devil's advocate a little bit. I'm with Seagal, the martial arts. He studies. He doesn't really realize he uses course score comments. Yeah. And when he was doing, and again, early on in his career, he was really good at that. But it's like now, it's like you just watch. I mean, it's just embarrassing the stuff he puts out now.
Yeah. And like I said, I always thought it's his mainline stuff that he did at the beginning of his career wasn't very good anyway. So, all right, guys, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. We're just under 2 hours, and like I said, I'm still hungry, and I need to rest a little bit. I'm addicted to the streaming thing, but probably going to end up going to like rehab or something, like one of those groups, those AA Streamers Anonymous. Like, I'm streaming, and then they'll tell you, yeah, whatever. And then they're gonna ask you, well, what's the low point? Well, I streamed 101 days straight, but I really didn't realize it was happening. All right. Okay, guys, we will. Guess we'll see you tomorrow at some point. I don't know. Mondays, I think I've been taking a couple of Mondays off, so I might take. What happened with Spidey? Oh, you guys are being silly.
Oh no, no, he's
Chuck
Norris Dallas, but the rumors too scary. Chuck
Oh,
Norris
okay. I'm like, dude, don't put that in there, man. Yeah, those memes are hilarious. Those are the only memes. Some of the only memes I laugh at. So, all right, guys. Everybody have a good night. Everybody have a good start. Under Siege sucked. At least he sucked in it. Everybody else was good. Everybody have a good beginning to your week and last. Well, the weekend's over, but. Beginning of your week wherever you are, and we will be in touch. We're going to be doing some watch-alongs this weekend. I'll get them all scheduled. But we're going to do Monkey Man on Friday for sure.
Awesome.
And then we'll start doing some of the horror movies that we've promised on Saturday.
All right.
All right. Time to eat. See you guys later.
I guess.